Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 3. Take 1. Okay, we're getting into the meat of it. After the first two parts and Leia's been kidnapped, now Obi-Wan is trying to get Leia back to Alderaan. So the girl that plays Princess Leia, her name is Vivian Lyra Blair, is doing a fantastic job. She is really not only just performing Princess Leia well, she's doing a really good Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, but as a young girl.
What?
There are poses, head tilts, just little things that really remind you that this is the Princess Leia that Luke Skywalker rescued in the movie A New Hope. I think she's doing fantastic. I can't wait to see more work from her in the future in other projects. So I mentioned over parts 1 and 2 that the third sister, I was concerned about the character, that I wasn't sure what the issue was. And now I'm sure what the issue was. And the issue is simply this. Third sister is a brat. And Moses Ingram is doing a really good job with the part that she's been handed to portray. Moses Ingram, if you've seen The Queen's Gambit, Moses Ingram was the friend at the orphanage, and then later comes to visit. And she was fantastic in that, and she's doing a really good job in this. So there has been a dust-up of sorts, and she's taken some heat online for her performance in this, and I think her performance is actually really good. I think she's playing it exactly the way the writers wrote it. And my concern was that the writers didn't have an idea. And I think in this episode we start to see that she just is a brat. And I stand by my thought that she is that youngling that we saw in the opening scene of part 1. And if she is that youngling, and she has now been twisted to the dark side to be an inquisitor, which is what the Empire did. Any younglings or Jedi that were captured were tortured until they turned to the dark side. And then they became inquisitors to hunt down the remaining Jedi. That's what inquisitors do. So we do see at the beginning of this that Obi-Wan is haunted by the fact that Anakin's alive. You know, he had known that Anakin had fallen to the dark side and that Lord Vader had attacked the Jedi Temple and that those were the same person. But he left Anakin/Vader to die on Mustafar after cutting him in half, basically, and watching him catch on fire. We do see a fantastic shot of one. We know that now that Darth Vader built his palace, for lack of a better term, I don't have a better term for it, on Mustafar. And he has a throne room, which is very stark and empty.
Where is he?
And that says, you know, he hasn't moved on. Like, he's still trapped from the moment his master tried to kill him on Mustafar. And we do see that he is leading. We see he is leading on the third sister, that if she is successful in finding him, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that she will take the place of the Grand Inquisitor, whom she believes she killed, but she ran him through with a lightsaber. And I suspect he's not dead, but we'll come back to him. Not in this episode, but I think we'll come back to him before the end of this series. So anyway, it's great to hear James Earl Jones as Darth Vader again, speaking to Third Sister. We do see that Obi-Wan has followed the advice of the pretend Jedi and gone to Mapuzo. On the way, he repaired Lola so that Leia had her droid back. Lola is the designation L0LA59 is Lola's droid ID. But she refers to her as Lola, L0LA. So they're traveling to the coordinates on Mapuzo. They're walking out, and it's barren. Looks like it's all becoming a desert. And Obi-Wan says that it all used to be lush fields until the Empire came and stripped everything. So maybe that's why, every other planet we go to is a desert, because the Empire has ravaged them and turned them into deserts because they don't care. Maybe there's a lot more desert planets than lush ones. So they get to the coordinates. But before they get there, Obi-Wan has a vision of Anakin in his Jedi robes, as he was when he approached the Jedi Temple the last time, after Order 66. So he's truly haunted, knowing that Anakin's coming for him. And he's very broken. He doesn't. He has no hope to stay in the ideas of this franchise. Obi-Wan has reached a point in his life where he has no hope. They get to the spot. There's nobody there. He says there's nobody coming. Leia suggests that maybe they have to wait. And Obi-Wan just snaps at her and says there's nobody coming. People aren't good. And so Leia takes matters into her own hands. She flags down a transport with a seemingly happy guy named Feck. That they stumble through their story, not to get caught up in it, and he agrees to transport them to the port. On the way, they pick up some stormtroopers. Obi-Wan used to be better at all of this than he is now, and he accidentally calls Leia by her name, which was not the name they gave to the stormtroopers for her. But Ben talks his way out of it, and while doing that, he talks about the girl, Leia's mother, and how much she reminds him of her. And she really does. And the troopers go on their way, and Leia is left to ask Obi-Wan if not only did he know her mother, but was he in fact her real father? And Obi-Wan's answer is, I wish I was. Which is an interesting response from Obi-Wan. So we move on. Feck turns out to be an Imperial stooge, alerts the checkpoint guards that they should look into his passengers, and then a very strange thing happens. Obi-Wan uses his blaster, not his lightsaber. A blaster which we know he considers to be clumsy, and that the lightsaber is elegant, but he is at his rock bottom. And he uses his blaster and overcomes 5 stormtroopers. He and Leia get through the checkpoint after defeating the 5 stormtroopers, only to be confronted by 3 more stormtroopers who Ben immediately surrenders to. But turns out the person they were supposed to meet in the field is the commanding officer of these stormtroopers, and she shoots all 3 of the troopers and tells Obi-Wan and Leia that she'll take them the rest of the way. Her name is Tala, and she is part of what is known as the Path. She takes them to a safe house where we meet her droid, a loader. Loader droids don't communicate, which is odd. They don't even communicate with other droids. They're just muscle, I guess. They're just strong. Her droid's designation is Ned B. Not sure what that numeral designation would be, but Ned B is how we refer to this droid. While in the safe house, Obi-Wan sees a message written on the wall. There's many messages written on the wall, but he focuses on one message, and it's from Quinlan Vos. So Quinlan Vos turned up in the Clone Wars television series. This is the first time in canon that we know that he survived Order 66. And what he wrote on the wall was, "Only when your eyes are closed can you truly see." So maybe we're going to meet Quinlan Vos in season 2, which would be awesome. I like the idea of Quinlan Vos. And if I was casting, I don't know. Who would you cast as Quinlan Vos? I have a definite idea. Maybe I'll do a whole video on Quinlan Vos's significance to the Jedi Order and things, and where I think he fits into everything. But we'll get through all of the episodes first. So, what else happened in this episode? Can't remember if there was anything else. Oh yeah. Vader. So the Inquisitors and Darth Vader arrive on Marpuzo. And Darth Vader, walking through town, senses that Obi-Wan is near and begins force choking and pulling people out of their homes using the Force and snapping necks, knowing that if Obi-Wan sees this happening, that he will be honor-bound, Jedi code-bound, to stop it. And so he's trying to bring him out. Obi-Wan tells Tala to take Leia to the pilot and get her off planet and get her home. He'll buy them time. And he goes out and begins to lead Darth Vader away. And he's successful to a point. We have a Darth Vader who is at the height of his powers, and we have an Obi-Wan Kenobi who has never been weaker. And so Vader quickly overtakes Obi-Wan, and the lightsaber duel begins. Luckily for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader didn't even intend to kill him. He only intends to make him suffer. He pulls over a bin of flammable fuel rocks, whatever they were, and ignites them with his lightsaber. And then he force grabs Obi-Wan Kenobi and throws him into the fire to burn him the way that he himself was burned. And he tells Obi-Wan that your suffering has only just begun. And then Darth Vader extinguishes the flames, tells the troopers to bring Kenobi to him, and Tala is there and shoots the stormtrooper, reignites the fuel rocks, and Ned B walks in and picks up Obi-Wan and his lightsaber and rescues him. I'm not sure why Vader allowed Kenobi to be rescued. Because he could have extinguished the flames again. He just did it a moment ago. He could have force grabbed Ned B and dragged him over. Unless the torture of losing is Vader's intention. That he just wants to break Obi-Wan even more. And then, of course, right at the end we see that Third Sister has caught up to the escape route and killed the pilot and recaptures young Princess Leia. And that's where we leave it. So we'll see where we go in part 4. Not sure where we're going to go, but there's only parts 4, 5, and 6 remaining. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comments why you think Vader let Obi-Wan go. And what's going to happen next. I think that Obi-Wan has reached his lowest point and he will begin a redemption arc and become more of the Obi-Wan that we saw in the Clone Wars. What do you think? That's my take on Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 3. I'm Sean. This has been Sean's Take. And that is a wrap.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.